Hello, my name is Minigame and welcome back to another video on the St. Patrick's Day event. In my previous video on the event, I went over why you are probably playing too quickly, why you probably need to slow down. So in this video, I will show you how you can play even quicker, how you can shave off even more time, how you can save between half an hour and 1 hour over my original upgrade plans for the buildings. So in my spreadsheet, you will find a new page called Advanced Upgrade Plans. You will find it next to the original one. So here we have my original plans, and here you can see my improved versions. And here you can see all of these red areas here are where you have differences between the old and the new version. So in this video, I will go over these, and I will also go over a simulation I made that I used to actually come up with these plans. Now this simulation you can find in my spreadsheet, in my website, on my strategies guide at the bottom here. You can see how the code works if you're interested in that. So basically what I did is that I wrote a simulation that actually plays through the town. So no estimations or anything like that. It actually collects from the buildings, it ships them over to the eastern side, western side, and then it collects those. All of that works exactly like it does in-game, in this simulation, and with this you can, here you can supply an upgrade order, which basically tells the simulation I want to upgrade my buildings in this order. I also have these managers here, and by using those, the simulator will play through the town exactly like it would in-game, and it will give you what you could call a lower estimate of how long it'll take. So with perfect play, this is how long it would take to complete the town with all of this. But I will go over all of this in more detail in a moment. Before I do, I want to go over all of the differences, talk a little bit behind the reasoning behind them and all of that, and then I will go over the simulator in some more detail, showing you how you can use it, the formats of it and all of that. So first let's go over the upgrades. Let's start with Town 1. So here I have prepared a spreadsheet where you can see the differences between the two towns. So here you have my original plan, and here we have my upgraded plan. So you can see that the start is exactly the same. Then the first difference is here, where instead of getting drinks to level 1 before upgrading Festival and Shipyard to 150, you actually get it after. Now the reasoning behind getting it first was to front load a little bit on shamrocks, and that when you got these to level 150, then you could collect a lot because you had stockpiled shamrocks on the eastern side of the river. That is still the case, but you don't actually need the drinks. You can do it still by only getting cake to level 30, so a few more levels here to kind of compensate a little bit, and that is enough. And by doing it this way, only upgrading or getting drinks after leveling Festival and Shipyard to level 150 each, you will save around 5 to 6 minutes. So it's a little bit, it's not that much, but you will save some time. The next difference is actually pretty much the same. Here, instead of getting fireworks before upgrading Festival and Shipyard to 200, you get it after. So here again, the reasoning is the same. You wanted to front load a little bit on your production side. That is still the case, but by going for fireworks isn't necessary. It wasn't necessary. It is enough to go for drinks, leveling that a few more levels, and relying on that plus cake. That is enough to stockpile shamrocks on the eastern side. So in essence, I was going a little bit overhand on the front loading of productions on my original plan. But again, not by that much. Here, you only save another 6 or 7 minutes or so. So in total, with these two changes, you only save around 10 to 12, 13 minutes. So it's a little bit, oh, sure, it definitely is a little bit, but it's not that much. Anyways, then here we have a similar story to on the next change here. You don't actually need to get it all the way to level 10 that I did in my original plan. Again, it seems like I was front loading a little bit too much. It is enough to get it to level 6. So it's a slight difference, not that big of a difference, but this is enough. Anyway, so then you upgrade each of these to level 250, the Festival and Shipyard, exactly the same. Cake to level 100, exactly the same. Here comes the next difference. So instead of in my original plan, I said that you can choose to go for another 50 levels in flowers if you want to speed up the task to generate 10 billion flowers. But that is actually not necessary. So the biggest time save is by not doing this. That saves some time, not that much time, but the biggest time save is by changing the order you upgrade your festival and shipyard. So here, believe it or not, you upgrade your festival all the way up to 295. That sounds quite crazy to me, because even though these are roughly the same with these manager levels here, so shipyard manager level 2, festival manager level 3, the shipyard is slightly better. But even though it is slightly better, you should actually upgrade the festival, or the shipyard, sorry, first. You should upgrade it all the way to 295. Not any further than that. After that, you should go back to festival to 295. And in the time it takes to upgrade the shipyard to 295, you will have completed this task, so you will get this final upgrade 200 task sometime while upgrading here. Now then, you should upgrade festival, bring that all the way up to 295 as well, then a few more levels in shipyard to 298, and then 300 levels in festival first. So what have you accomplished here? Well, what you have accomplished here is that you have stockpiled a lot of shamrocks on the western side, on the collection side of the city. So that means that when you have brought your festival to level 300, the time it takes to get the shipyard to level 300 is much lower than it was if you did them both at the same time. So you save quite a bit of time doing that. You do of course lose some time by going shipyard first, a lot of levels, and then festival. So here originally you do lose some time, but you regain that again when you come to the last couple of levels, last 2 levels, because these are the longest. They will take, I believe it is around 1.5 hours or something like that. So by first doing it in this order, you save a lot, or stockpile a lot of shamrocks on the western side. That means these final 2 levels in the shipyard are a lot quicker. And by doing that, you do save quite a bit of time. Then you level fireworks and hats to level 50 and 200, same thing here. And then you do whatever remaining levels you need for the task in flowers. You probably don't need the full 125. You will probably complete or get this task sometime while you are upgrading the shipyard, so you'll have to see how many you need. Anyways, that is Town 1, and the time saved is around half an hour by doing it this way. The original plan takes around 1 day, 3 hours and 30 minutes, and this one takes just below 1 day, 3 hours. So around half an hour, a little bit over half an hour saved. Anyways, then let's move on to Town 2. So here the first difference comes at this task here. It's not really a big difference, but you don't actually need to level festival first, or this early on it's actually slightly better to just level them at the same time. So even though the shipyard is quite a lot better than the festival, or the production is quite a bit higher in the shipyard, at this early level you don't have time to stockpile any shamrocks before this, so you should level them roughly at the same time. Then it's the same difference there, or the same change here. Instead of going for drinks before you level up your festival and shipyard to 150, you do it after. And now to compensate for that, you first, or you want to get a few additional levels in the cake. Here you only need 28 levels, and that's because the flower manager is slightly higher, so this being 50, it's the same here. But because this is 50, it'll be, and it has a higher manager, it will produce enough to compensate for those 2 levels. So that's why you see some level differences in these, even though the idea is the same. So yeah, flowers and hats, these will only take seconds. And then again here, you don't need to level festival first and then shipyard. You can do them at the same time. That should save some seconds. It's not a big difference at all. So here I would simply go back and forth. Don't worry about going 1 level at a time. Just use max, first some in shipyard, then some in festival, and so on. So yeah, not a big difference. Then you finally get the drinks after that. Level it to level 9 instead of level 10. Small difference, but it does save some time according to my simulations. Then it's the same thing. You want to front load with the shipyard. Even here, where the shipyard is a lot better, you do save time by first going levels in the shipyard. And again, the reason is that this part here will not take too long. You do lose some time, of course, But when you have gotten the festival to 200, you will have stockpiled a lot of shamrocks on the western side, which means that leveling the shipyard from 175 to 200, this will be quicker. So you want to front load a little bit on the transportation, so that by the time you have leveled the festival, this step will go quicker. Anyways, then it's the same here. I just spread it out a little bit because perhaps it wasn't clear here, but here you should first get fireworks to level 1, then drinks to level 25, and then flowers to 100. Though in reality this will be done roughly at the same time. So by the time both of these are 200, you will have stockpiled enough shamrocks so that with 1 or 2 collections or something like that, you will be able to do all of these 3. So yeah. Then fireworks level 15, increase that a little bit, and then again same story here. You want to front load on the shipyard, bring that up before you go back to festival, and then do shipyard. And it's the same story. You stockpile. This takes a little bit longer, of course, but when you get here to this stage, this part goes a lot quicker. Anyways, then you should bring your fireworks to 32. Now I'm basing this on my updated version that I did go over in a previous video. So here I was on the right track, but I seem to be a little bit lower than is optimal. So here 32 levels seems to be optimal in the fireworks. Then cake and hats to level 100 and 200. That's the same as here. So yeah, what you do is you bring this forward a little bit before you do these. So upgrade this before you do these. It's not a big difference anyways. And yeah, I say here you'll probably start this sooner. By that I mean that you will probably start this upgrade task somewhere in the region over here. But yeah, I just wanted to put it here that this is the latest you want to do it. Here you absolutely do have to wait. But you can start it here. So here, for example, you can start leveling up this before the upgrade task. So that probably wasn't too clear here. So this is the latest you want to do it. Anyways, then we come to the final level, and here again it's the same story. For some reason it seemed to be slightly better. You saved a few seconds, not much, by going a few levels in festival first, and then front loading on the shipyard. Going to 280 here, 88 sorry, seemed to be the optimal. And that's actually quite precise, because going to 289 lost around 10 minutes or so. So you definitely want to stop here, and I'll go over why you might want to stop a little bit sooner as well later on when I show the simulator. But yeah, here you want to stop at 288. And then here I have 270 and then 300. Basically what this means is that you should not bring the festival higher than 270 before you get the upgrade task. But you will probably complete the collect or generate 15 trillion cakes task before this point. But this is the absolutely latest you wanna, or the highest you wanna go before you get the upgrade task. So, but you will probably get it before that, probably while you're doing this. So just so you know that, you wanna wait here. But basically after 288 you wanna bring your festival to 300. And again here, because you have stockpiled a lot of shamrocks, this part here, bringing the shipyard from 288 to 300, will go a lot quicker. So that's the idea behind front loading on the shipyard. Then you level fireworks all the way to level 50, and then you do whatever building is the cheapest. The remaining levels you need for the upgrade task, you do in whatever building is cheapest. So it doesn't really matter which buildings you do, just pick the cheapest each time until you have done all you need here. So that is Town 2. Now let's go over Town 3, which is quite similar. Oh, by the way, time save here is around 1 hour. So the original plan was around 24 hours. This upgraded one around 23 hours, minimum time, optimal time. So then we come to Town 3. Again, same story in the beginning, so I don't really need to go over it. It's exactly the same story. To be honest, it is the same story. It is the same story. The numbers are slightly different, as you can see. Here for some weird reason, or actually yeah, let's talk about this for a moment. So here, in the original plan, I had this wait for 3 billion flowers before starting on this task here. And this time we actually had to wait. Here we had to wait 15-20 minutes or something like that. so not too long, but you did have to wait here before starting on this. And that meant that you just sat there not doing anything, which was slightly wasted, not that much wasted. But because you do have to wait, it actually seems to be better to level up the fireworks to 25 before leveling these to 250. So if you see here in the previous town, you only go to level 15, and then you go directly to Festival and Shipyard to level 250. But because you do have this wait here that you do need to do, it seems to be better to actually level the fireworks first because of this wait time. So leveling fireworks to level 25, then upgrading Festival and Shipyard to 250, and again front loading on the Shipyard. And here it also seems to be slightly better to go a few levels in Festival first and then the Shipyard. Not really a big difference, so you could just go to 28 immediately. But yeah, front loading a little bit on Shipyard and then going again to Festival to 250 and then Shipyard fully leveled to 250. And then actually it seems like you should add one more level. That gave some better results, so yeah, add one more level in fireworks. And that has to do with stockpiling enough on the western side, on the eastern side, sorry. So after you have completed both of these, and again, same story here, front load and then level up both. After this point, because you have stockpiled shamrocks here, it doesn't take a long time to complete this, to upgrade this. And it seems like getting this to 26 is the kind of the optimal level, because that means that in the time it takes to complete this upgrade here, you will have depleted roughly all of the shamrocks you have stockpiled. So yeah, this seems to be the optimal level to do before. But yeah, anyways, that's not a big deal. So that is the upgraded plans. Again, you will find them linked in the description. Again, they're not really necessary. I just want to do this for fun, for people like me, nerds like me, who want to optimize things and all of that. But as I said in the intro and in my previous video, you probably do want to slow down instead of speed up. But it is what it is. I find this very fun and interesting, so I did want to share it. Alright, now let's go over the simulator. So as I showed, you can find this at the bottom of my strategies guide. This will be linked. Now this is quite small, as you can see. So all of this is very small, this is quite small, and this is wrapped around, so might be a little bit tricky to see. So what you can do is that you can go here, share, link. You can copy this link, and what that will do is that it will send you to this page here. Or actually it'll be like this, but then you can click expand, and here we have a much bigger version of it that's probably much easier to use. So how does this work? Well, here you have 3 or 5 inputs really, but 3 that matter. These don't really matter that much, but you have 3 inputs. First, the town you're currently in. This matters for the tasks. Then you have the manager levels you want, and this follows the order. I probably should have spelled this out, but the order is Festival, Shipyard, Hats, Flowers, Cake, Drinks, Fireworks. That is the order of buildings. So these manager levels here means Festival level 3, Shipyard level 2, Hats level 3, Flowers level 2, and so on. So yeah, this is the order, just so you know that. I will make that clearer. And then you have the upgrade order. What does all of this mean? So here again, perhaps I should have made this clearer, but here you have first a building code and then how far you want to get that building. So H means hats. Again, I probably should have done this clearer, but let's just do it live. F equals festival, S equals shipyard, H equals hats, FL equals flowers, C equals cake, D equals drinks, and Fi equals fireworks. So here you can see that first you should get your hats to level 25. When the town starts, it assumes that you have hats, festival, and shipyard all at level 1. So first you want to get your hats to level 25, and then you want to bring festival and shipyard to level 10, leveling both at the same time. So here you can see that you can specify 2 buildings at the same time within these 2 quotation marks. That means that it should do 1 level of each of these at the same time. So first one level in festival, then one in shipyard, then another in festival, shipyard, and so on. Then you have flowers to level 5, then festival and shipyard to 25 each, again at the same time, then flowers to 25, and so on. So this is how you can come up with your own upgrade plan. Here you can find both my old order and my new one. So these are the ones you can find here. So if I go actually all the way back, so here we have the new one. So it'll first go hats 25, then as you saw, festival and shipyard to 10, and then flowers to 5, festival and shipyard to 25, and so on. So that's how you can build on this simulator here, and it'll go all the way until the end to level 300 each in these, and then some remaining ones in the remaining buildings. Now, there are two minor things that you might have noticed, or one thing you have noticed. So here you can see that I have two numbers here. What do these mean? Well, what these mean is that, if I go over here, basically what I do, I thought I had numbers there. Okay, actually what I'll do here. So what I do is that I wait for task number 26. Okay, so what that means is that if I find the right order, it is here. So here I have 26. That means that when I get to this stage, so after I have leveled flowers to level 100, and I get here, I will wait until task 26 is active before I continue. So if we look at my plan here, my upgrade plan, I forget exactly where it is, probably here I think, or here, actually here, yeah. So before it continues to level these to level 200, it will wait until it gets this upgrade task. So that is what that means. So at task number 26, I will wait here until that is one of the 3 active tasks. Then it will move on to leveling the buildings. So that's something you can do. Here you see it later on. Here I wait for task number 34, which is another upgrade task in Town 1. Let's see, 34, that's the final upgrade task. So if we look here, at this point, after I've gotten this to 295, then I need to wait until I get this before I start upgrading my festival. So that's what those numbers mean. If I go back here, so yeah, that's what those numbers mean. Now let's talk a little bit about the output here. So you can see that I have two things here. You have tasks here. So here you can see all the completed tasks, how many you have completed, which task number it was, the task code, don't really think too much about that, and then how long it took to complete these tasks here. The other thing you can see are these steps here. So the first step here is leveling hats to level 25. That is the first step here. That took 1 minute and 13 seconds. And then the next step here, leveling festival and shipyard, that took 49 seconds. And the next one to level flowers to level 5, that took 24 seconds, and so on. You can also see this total time, which is how long everything has taken up until that point. And this will continue all the way to the end. Here you can see the final tasks, and you can see which tasks are the longest one. You can see these ones are the longest ones. And then all the way to the end, and at the end here, you can see how long it took in total to complete this town. So 1 day, 2 hours and 56 minutes and 34 seconds. So that's how you can use it. Now one more thing I want to add. What you can also add here is sleeping time or waiting time. So let's say at this point you need to go to bed. You can add 8 and followed by either seconds, minutes or hours. So let's say I want to wait 8 hours here. If I run it again, now it'll take 1 day and 5 hours to complete this. So here you can see I have to wait 8 hours. Basically what it does is it stops leveling everything. It continues collecting, of course, but it doesn't do any leveling or anything like that. So that's a way to simulate sleep. So let's say you sleep for 8 hours there, or 6 hours if you, like me, don't get enough sleep perhaps. You can see how much time you lose by waiting at given places for given times. So, I don't know, let's try, I don't know, 30 minutes. Let's see if that has any impact. Probably not too much. basically not. That didn't have any impact at all. So yeah, there you can see some another way you can try to plan around your sleep schedule, for example, and all of that. And yeah, now one thing I want to show, or I want to go over, is if we take this last town as an example. So here I have my new order, the one I just went over in my spreadsheet. And this will take 23 hours and 1 minute and 25 seconds. Now let's say that after I have gotten my shipyard to 288, so if we go back here, so after I've gotten my shipyard to 288, that is probably a natural place to go to bed, a natural place to place a breaker. So how long or how much time do you lose if you wait 8 hours here? So if you wait 8 hours here, you will lose roughly 1 hour in total in the completion time. But here, if you, instead of going to level 288, where was it here? If instead of going to 288, you go to 280, for example, instead of losing 1 hour, here you only lose, what's that, 15 minutes. So that's another thing you need to consider, that is where you sleep or where you take your break. So if you want to sleep, then you don't need to get as many levels ahead with your shipyard. Because if you sleep, you have more time where the shipyard is able to stockpile shamrocks, which means that you don't need to get it as high to get the same benefit at the end when you have leveled your festival. So basically what you can take from that is that if you know that you have a break coming up, if you know that you're going to sleep, for example, then you want to go a little bit lower on these front ending of leveling the shipyard. You want to level those slightly less than what it says here. So instead of 280, perhaps 288, perhaps go to 280 or 275 or something like that. Here, perhaps 225 and so on. So go slightly lower if you are going to sleep when or after you have completed that step. So yeah, now the final thing I want to go over a little bit is talk about how my simulation actually works, because that's probably something that I know a few of you might be interested in, probably not too many. I won't go too much into detail, but I do have, you'll see it here, you can see it in the simulator tab here. Here is all the code, and as you can see, I do have a lot of comments here. So hopefully if you want to look more, you can do that. But I want to go through kind of the basics of it, of how it works. So basically how it works is that it steps ahead one time step that is set to 1 second. I tried it with a much lower time step of I don't know, 0.01 seconds. Didn't really have much of an impact. So it steps ahead 1 second in time for each loop. It loops around, and for each loop iteration, it steps ahead 1 second in time. It then updates the timers, and it looks if any of the buildings are ready to collect. And if any of the buildings are ready to collect, it collects them. So either, or if it is the festival, it will collect the shamrocks to your inventory. If it is a shipyard, it will either collect from the western side, or eastern side, sorry, or it will deposit that on the western side. And if it is a production building, it will deposit what it has produced into the eastern stockpile. So nothing of this is estimated. It actually runs through the entire town for each time step, or each time a building is ready to either collect, transport, or generate. It will actually leave those shamrocks in the correct stockpile, so either on the eastern side, the western side, or in your inventory. It will actually do all of this as it would in-game. So it is completely accurate in that regard. It doesn't use any estimates of what your current productions are or anything like that. It actually does play through the entire town based on your upgrade order. So that's how it works actually. And I also have tasks in here, and it's the same story here. If you have a task that requires you to collect a certain amount of shamrocks, well, each time you collect shamrocks, that is updated, or that task is updated, and when you have collected enough, that task will be completed, and you will get a new task. So it does actually go through all of this as if it was in-game, and it does update all of this as it plays along. So if you want to look at all the details, you can do that here. I don't want to do that in the video because it would take too long. I it's not, okay, it is slightly complicated. It's not that complicated. It probably looks quite a bit more complicated than it really is, because all I do is that I simply step ahead in time and I update every building according to their current states and all of that. So here for example, you have all the tasks. You can see how I have formatted those. Here I have some helper function to parse all of this. Might be interesting to some. Here I have all the values that all of this is based on. So in case you didn't know, all the cost of leveling, production amounts and all of that, that is based on level 1 values. So you only need level 1 values, other values are calculated. So yeah, you can find all of that here, and yeah. So if you want to look more into this, by all means look at the simulator here. If you find any bugs, please feel free to contact me, but I am quite confident that it does indeed work as it should, because these times here, they do seem accurate to me. For example, this final step of collecting 8.4 quadrillion shamrocks, that I know does take 6 hours and 41 minutes. So it does seem very accurate to me. These times here do make sense to me based on all my testing and all of that. So I'm very confident that this is accurate, but if you do find any flaws in it, please do let me know. But I'm fairly certain it is accurate. Anyways, I think I will end the video there. I think I've gone on for long enough, but before I end, I would like to thank my Patreons for supporting my content. I would like to thank Homestar, Fort Prefect, Lorden, Rockin' Robin, Kim Cayley, Joshua Clark, Merrick B, Altler, Hugo Kant von Count, Jan Fredriksen, Jude the Generous, Filda, Rush, Susan Weiss, Megarock, Rocco, Henrik Darek Kleber, Mattia, Opshi the Obsessed, Raph, and Kim. So, thank you very much for watching, take care, and I will see you in the future.